So when I first started teaching, I was teaching in an Nissan Micra. It was a nice little red car, nice little bubble. I used to love that car. In my defense, I don't think I was completely ready. I don't think I should have gone and done my driving test. Hiya guys, welcome back to Clearview Driving. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Aman and I'm a driving instructor. Now if you're new to my page, be sure to follow. I post content if you're learning to drive, if you've got a test coming up, or if you're just looking to improve your driving skills. So be sure to follow my page if you're not following already. Now today's video is very different from my usual content. So today is a Q&A. You'll probably get to know me a little bit better through these questions. So I had a random mix of questions that you guys did ask, so I've got the list here and I'm going to go through them. So the first question I'm going through is, did I always want to be a driving instructor? Just let that police car go. Did I always want to be a driving instructor? Absolutely not. It wasn't something that I was aspiring towards going, yes, I'm going to be a driving instructor. But I enjoyed teaching, but it definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do. I started driving at the age of 17. I was driving straight away, had a car. If anyone needed to go somewhere, I am the designated driver and I absolutely love driving. So yeah, that's kind of how I fell into it mainly. Which leads me to the next question. Did I pass first time? Absolutely not. I failed the first attempt quite badly. I failed my first attempt with, I'm not kidding, 2 dangerous mistakes, at least 3 serious mistakes, and then a few minors here and there. In my defense, I don't think I was completely ready. I don't think I should have gone and done my driving test, because my sister, she booked my test and said, yeah, you ready? I don't think I fully was. I don't think I was fully prepared for what was coming. But yeah, that driving test was definitely a big shake-up for me. My examiner was really nice. He was trying so hard not to be discouraging, because obviously I did scare him a little bit. I felt really bad about that afterwards. But yeah, he was really nice. So I made a few mistakes and yeah, I learned from them soon after. And then I passed my test on my second attempt with just 2 minors. So yeah, if you fail your first attempt, don't feel bad about it. It's a learning curve and learn from your mistakes. And then yeah. What car did I learn to drive in? Now, unlike nowadays, you don't have fancy cars back then. I learned to drive in a Nissan Micra. It was a really nice Nissan Micra. It was a 1.5 diesel, actually, very forgiving, really nice and easy to learn, and actually teaching. So when I first started teaching, I was teaching in a Nissan Micra. It was a nice little red car, nice little bubble. I used to love that car. But yeah. What was my first car? My first car was a VW Golf. Absolutely love that car to bits. It was a 1.9 TDI diesel, so that's quite a big engine. And I kid you not, I did not know what the numbers 1.9 actually meant. I didn't pick the car myself, my family did and they got it for me, which was great. I remember some of my friends asking me why I had a 1.9 and I didn't even know what that meant. So yeah, don't get a massive litre. Around 1 litre is good if you're just starting off as a 17-year-old, because then it helps with your insurance having a smaller engine. Okay, so we've got some questions about nerves on the test day. Now, on your test day, you are bound to be nervous. I was so nervous. I remember even in my second test, for the first 3-4 minutes, I was not even listening to what the examiner was saying. He was asking me about how do I test my brakes are working? And all I could hear is brakes. So I thought, oh yeah, brake lights. And he had to repeat the question about 4 times. So the best way to try and keep calm, try and relax, take a few deep breaths and just listen, just take it in, and then take one road at a time. So when you start driving and you just start moving off, just kind of make sure you're doing all your checks, stick to your routine. And another good thing is try and do like an ongoing talk through. You don't need to do it out loud. You could just do it in your head, and then that way you're not thinking about the fact that you're nervous, you're just thinking about what you're doing. Driving alone for the first time after you pass your driving test. Now it can be quite nerve-wracking because now you're on your own, no one's helping you, you've got to think for yourself, and if you make a mistake, well, you kind of figure it out if somebody hoots you. So the best way to practice outside afterwards is try and practice at a really quiet time, so there's not a lot going on, so you can just focus on what you're doing and kind of take one road at a time. So yeah, start off with short journeys. So do a 10 or 15 minute drive. Don't go for a full half an hour drive. And if you have got to drive full half an hour, stop over halfway through and then go again. Anytime you get a bit anxious or you make a mistake, be sure to find a suitable place to pull over, gather your thoughts, think about what's just happened, and then go again. So yeah, it will get easier. Start off with short journeys and gradually increase the time. And if you need to do a 2-hour drive, be sure to plan rest stops in between. Oh, the next question is about how to check your blind spot without having to turn around as you're driving. So if you're driving at 40-50 miles per hour, sometimes it can feel quite scary to look over your shoulder and you don't really realise where the cars are, if they're in the lane next to you, if they're a bit further. It can be a bit scary looking over there at that sort of speed. But what you can do is, as you're driving, keeping your focus ahead, use the mirror next to you, but keep looking forward and looking across and lean with your body. The closer you are to the steering, the more you're going to see in that mirror there. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to close that blind spot from this big space initially, like this sort of area here. As you lean in, you can see more and more in that area. And then once you're in this position, you can simply just look across to the right, all while looking ahead. And now you've covered the whole blind spot without having to go like this at 50 miles per hour. Do I ever get worried that students will crash my car? I think when I first started teaching that was probably a concern. Now not so much, because I can take control at any point. So if anything happens, I tend to blame myself rather than the student. So yeah, I'm never really worried that the student's going to crash my car, no. Have I ever been in a car crash because of a student? I have had incidents over the last few years, obviously considering how much I'm driving, but it's never been the student's fault. It's always that the back of the car's been hit, so never the front where they've gone and hit into a parked car or hit an oncoming car or anything of the sort, no. Somebody was asking about how to deal with panicking if you stall the car or if you feel like you're holding up traffic when you're driving. Now, this is something that's going to, again, take some practice. It may feel like you're doing something wrong and you're holding people up, but don't think about the traffic behind. Focus on what you need to do and just focus on what's going on ahead of you. If you end up stalling, just check your mirrors, but get on with what you're doing. And if traffic around you chooses to go around you, then that's fine. Just let them pass and check your mirrors and kind of safely move off again. Don't think about what they're doing. So the longer you're thinking about the person behind going, oh my God, I'm holding them up, you're going to stall again. And it's happened many times over the years where the more you focus on them, you're going to keep stalling, you're going to keep making mistakes. So don't think about the driver behind. Focus on what you're doing, and that's that. How to become comfortable for driving for long distance on motorways. Now, motorways, once you get going, they're actually much easier and much safer than your regular roads, because you're driving up to 70 miles per hour, but you're just driving in a straight line. But as you can imagine, if something goes wrong on a motorway, it can be quite dangerous, as it's not just a little bump. It can be quite dangerous. So make sure when you're doing any sort of motorway driving, you're leaving yourself plenty of time for your journey. You're planning your rest stops, as you can get really tired as you're driving just in a straight line, and be super alert, hyper alert of your surroundings. So when you're driving on a motorway, you're not just looking kind of in your close vicinity here. You want to be looking as far as the road goes. Any sort of brake lights going off, you want to know why they're braking, what's going on in the distance, if there's any lane changes, or if you suspect someone's driving a little bit dodgy, keep an eye on them. So yeah, plan your journeys and start off with plan your journeys, regular stops, and don't do long drives. Be sure to stop over. Hardest thing to teach as a driving instructor. This is going to come as a bit of a surprise. I always feel like it's much easier to teach a complete beginner, someone who knows nothing, than someone who knows how to drive, so an experienced driver, and then they've got loads of habits that you need to try and rectify. Because so with a new driver, any information I give them, they're going to take it on board. They might make a few mistakes, but they're not doing it on purpose because they don't know any better, and you know, off they go. But with an experienced driver, you tell them, okay, you know, this is what we're going to do. But then they're set in their ways, so they keep going back to the way they're doing it, and then they're making mistakes. And sometimes they don't want to listen. So that's why I always struggle when it comes to experienced drivers, that they want to just do their own thing. They know they want to be listening. They're kind of fighting between themselves, really, sometimes with experienced drivers, as they know that I'm giving them the right information to go forward to help them. But they just set in their ways, really. So I feel like it's quite difficult to teach someone who's an experienced driver rather than someone who's a complete beginner. Have I ever driven in Canada, America, with the steering wheel's on the other side and you're driving on the right side? I have driven in my car, so this car and the last car that I had. I've driven in, I have driven in my car to France and kind of European countries, but not in Canada or America. But yeah, I think it would be quite weird having the gear lever on the right side, because I'm so used to my left hand doing everything. So it would be quite strange. I wouldn't mind kind of switching over and driving onto the other side of the road. That will take a bit of practice. But I remember driving in France when I was driving all the way to Paris. I did end up doing a funny left turn. So I was doing a left turn like this, but I was supposed to do a left turn like this. So yeah, I ended up turning into traffic. But yeah, everyone makes mistakes. Do I have any experience of riding a bicycle or a motorbike? Yes, both. I can ride a bike, and I did do a CBT course a few years back, actually. Riding a bike with gears, love it on open roads, not in the city. I usually fall over. Moped, I like the idea of being able to ride a motorbike. I wanted to do the whole kind of course, but I have this fear that I won't be able to actually hold the bike up, or the bike's gonna topple over. So that's kind of what's stopping me, and plus it's super dangerous. So that's probably what's probably scaring me more, actually. Probably just chickening out more than anything. Alright guys, that is the end of today's video. It's been really different from my usual content, so let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, any comments, be sure to put them down in the comment section. I do read through all the comments. Sometimes I don't get time to reply. And lastly, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys for all the love that I've got for over the last year and a half, for the comments, the likes, the shares, the subscribers. I can't believe I'm at like 47,000. That just sounds crazy in itself. So thank you. Yeah, you guys push me to do more, which is great because I love doing this. But yeah, if you ever have any questions, put them down here. And lastly, be sure to follow me on my socials, my TikTok and my Instagram. They're both listed in the description. And that's the end of today's video. There will be a video on Sunday as always.